Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at two different guns. We're looking at 222s. We're taking a look at the Ruger Mark IV. This model is the 2245 Lite. It is not loaded. There's not a magazine in it. And we're also going to take a look at the Smith & Wesson Victory. This one as well is not loaded, not a magazine in it. Now, we've had both these guns for quite a while. We got the Victory right after it came out back in 2016, and this is my wife's gun. She loves this gun, and I like shooting it as well. But the Mark IV is mine. I had a Ruger Mark III before this, and shot good. There's nothing wrong with it. It was the tactical model. I didn't like cleaning it. It sucked to clean. Whereas the Mark IV, the takedown on it, it's got to make sure your safety's on. You push the button on the back, it comes apart. Take your bolt out. I mean, it's that simple. It's the easiest takedown of any gun we got. Alright, this video is not going to be saying which one is better, which gun I think is more reliable, because they're both extremely reliable weapons. Me personally, I do prefer the Mark IV. But my wife has smaller hands. And this has a smaller grip this way, but the grip is wider this way than the Mark IV is. When I shoot this and she shoots this, we both have better groups with the Smith & Wesson Victory. This gun is more accurate. I will say it is 100% more accurate than this 2245 Lite. Now, standard Mark IV with a steel barrel it's probably going to be a lot more accurate than the model I have is, because the barrel on the Mark IV, as you can see, is just this small stainless barrel, and that's a thread protector on it. This model is threaded, so you can put a suppressor or a comp or whatever else you want to put on that. Now, when I bought this, it had standard black on black sights. I didn't really care for the black on black sights. My wife's Victory had these Williams fire sights, and the Williams fire sight company is only like an hour and a half from where we live at. So we took the trip up to Michigan, and I bought a set of the Williams fire sights for my 2245 when I got it, which I love these sights. The ones I have are green rear with a red fiber optic front. It's fiber optic rear as well. These things are stupid bright outside. The wife's came factory with the green front and green rear, which these are also super bright outside. This Victory is not the threaded model. They do make a threaded model. This has a 5.5 inch barrel. My Mark IV has a 4.4 inch barrel. So you have a little bit longer barrel for a little bit better velocity, and you got a longer sight radius with the Victory. So the Victory, that's probably one of the reasons why it does group better. And it could also have something to do with just this barrel being so small on this. This barrel is going to have more flex than this giant bull barrel is on the Victory. Now, takedown of the Victory is something else. When we first got this, we got it when it first came out. And the takedown on this is you got to take this Allen screw out of the bottom. I broke like 4 Allen wrenches trying to get this apart. I took it back to the gun store where we bought it at, and they broke an Allen wrench as well. This thing was so tight we could not get it out hardly. They were going to send it back to Smith & Wesson to have them remove the screw, and I was like, give me one more chance with it. So I took it home, ended up locking this up in a vise, did it real safely so it didn't scratch the gun, and I was able to pound a Allen wrench like really hard with a hammer, and finally broke that screw loose. Needless to say, I did not put it back in there that tight, so now if I have to take this gun apart to clean it, it's fairly easy to get the screw back out. We're not going to pull this apart on the video. There's no reason to. Like I say, you just take the screw out and the upper comes off of this gun. This Victory does have a all steel construction, all metal construction. I think the lower part might be aluminum. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but it is some type of metal. Whereas my Mark IV is polymer, and it's got an aluminum shroud and has a stainless barrel. Now, the Victory is going to be inherently tougher than this polymer and aluminum gun, just because of the way they are made. This will be a gun that our grandkids would be able to shoot, and this one here will probably have polymer that is deteriorated within 100 years. One thing I do like about the Mark IV is it has an an ambi safety on it. It is on both sides, so you can get it if you're a left-handed shooter or a right-handed shooter. You're able to access the safety from either side of the gun. The slide lock on both guns are in the same spot, and it's only left side operation on both guns. Like I said, the Victory's got a 5.5 inch barrel. This is a 4.4 inch barrel. This one does come with a rail on top. This one does not come with a rail, but you can buy a rail section for the top of it to add a red dot if you want to. Same with this, and they also sell it where you can sell a kit where you can take the top rail off and just bolt a red dot almost directly on top of the receiver there. Now, we have shot the crap out of both of these guns because there was a while we were shooting 22 like a lot because it was cheaper to shoot than 9mm before I started reloading. So we were practicing a whole lot with these guns, and they got put through the ringer. And we've had very, very few malfunctions with them. I took all 3 of my sons to the range when it's probably been 6-7 years ago. And we ran 500 rounds through this. And the only malfunction it had was when we were pretty close to the last magazine or two. It had a few feed issues, but the gun was really dirty from shooting 22 ammo. I mean, it's dirty anyway, but I was impressed that the gun ran that long without an issue. Now, the Victory runs just as good. There's not a thing wrong with the way this gun runs. We have been nothing but pleased with either weapon. Now, the two things that I will say that are extremely different for a male and a female shooter. Like I said, my wife has smaller hands, and the grip on this comes down more toward the back. So the palm swell on this doesn't fill my hand. There's like a gap right there. And my wife having smaller hands, she loves this gun. It's a little bit heavier than the Mark IV is, but it also helps tame the recoil. 22 doesn't have very much recoil, but when you shoot this, I'll put in some clips of both of us shooting it. You'll see this gun has just very little movement at all. Whereas the Mark IV being a lighter gun, but it's actually quite a bit lighter. This one it's a little more snappy, but it's not bad. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that a 22 has a lot of recoil, because it doesn't. But the Victory does have less felt recoil than this does, and this is because this is the 2245 light model. It's not a standard target model. The target model probably shoots just as good and just as flat as the Victory does. I just don't have any experience with it. And not for myself and most other guys. Almost every guy that I know that has shot both of these guns prefers the Mark IV. And it's because this is a 2245. Supposedly I can't talk today. The 2245 had the same grip angle as a 1911. So this feels and points like a 1911 does. It's just a good handling gun. Another thing that messes with my wife too is when she loads them. Now, when you load the Victory, you'll see that the magazine goes straight in line with the grip. She said the Mark IV weirds her out a little bit because if you notice, the angle is going that way and the magazine goes this way. But you can see how it's kind of offset there. And she prefers to load and shoot her Victory, which to me, this is not a big deal. I put the mag in, I hit it, I really don't pay attention to it. But it's something she noticed and she didn't like. So I'm trying to differentiate between what a man would like and what a woman would like as far as handedness, size, weight, and whatnot. But if you're in the market for either one of these guns, they're both going to be great choices. The Victory is quite a bit cheaper now. I've seen those for $325, $350, where these are still $500 to $600 depending on where you look at. But if you're on the fence about which one you want, go handle them. Go to a gun shop, see if you can find somebody that has one that'll let you shoot it, or maybe a gun shop has one for rent. But you can't go wrong with either one of these choices for a 22. I mean, they're probably the most reliable 22s on the market, unless you buy something like a Volquartsen. But for standard planking that you're going to use with these, which some people would use these for self-defense, I wouldn't, but that's my personal choice. But if money's the factor, go with a Victory. If money's not an issue and you have larger hands, I would say go with the Mark IV. Now, if you are going to use these for self-defense, which, I mean, I'm not one to say what you should and should not shoot and should not carry and keep in your home for self-defense. That is all on you and the decisions that you want to make. But if you're going to use a 22 for self-defense, I would definitely 100% use this Federal Premium. This is the Federal Punch. This is supposed to be more reliable than standard 22 ammunition, even the premium ammunition, where like you have your stingers and higher velocity stuff. These are supposed to be more reliable, and that's the issue with 22, is it's rimfire. Rimfire is not as reliable as a centerfire cartridge. So if you're going to use one of these for self-defense, do not get just crap off-the-shelf ammo. Yeah, get 2 boxes of this stuff, and I would shoot one just to make sure that it's going to be dependable through your weapon, and have another box just to have for your magazine or extra magazines if you're going to go that route. Like I said, I am no expert on what you should or should not carry. I carry several different guns. Sometimes I carry anything from a 32 all the way up to a 45. So it depends on what I'm wearing and where I'm going. But if you guys got any questions about either one of these guns, these are both fantastic weapons. They're both fantastic plinkers. They're good to train people on. They're good to practice with. They're just all around. If I could only have one 22 pistol, to me, this is the end all. To my wife, this is the end all for her. I wish it had the threaded barrel, but it does not. They do make a model with a threaded barrel, but this is what they had in the store, and we bought it like as soon as it came out. But I hope you guys learned a little bit from this video. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me. I know quite a bit about both of these guns, the way they run. Like I say, both of these have a lot of rounds through them, and they've been nothing but dependable for my wife and I. And as always, thank you for watching. Stay safe, and let's take back our Second Amendment.